hating their co-wife for just merely existing is one huge issue that some wives are having. I just don't want her around. One thing that I have to say, because it does matter, your husband wants her around. Your kids, you may find, even want her around. There's some benefit that's there that they've experienced. Maybe not a lot, but enough to know that they like her, and in many cases love her. My children love my co-wife. They have good reason to.
Warning, viewer discretion is advised. The content, views, and educational material you are about to experience could challenge your belief, trigger strong emotions, and frankly, piss you off. This isn't for everyone. If you're not ready to confront new ideas, or if your feelings bruise easily, this might be the time to click away. Expect to be challenged, to think, and you might even want to scream at the screen. Proceed with caution, and remember, you chose to be here. Let's get it.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah, 1/3 of Outstanding Personal Relationships and co-author of the new book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. Now, this video, let's talk about this subject. It helps to hate her. Hatred for your co-wife. Does it help you? Many people have asked this question. I always like to start my videos with a question or some advice that I've given women over the years of my coaching with polygyny, which is, for clarification, the practice of having more than one wife, versus polygamy, which is the practice of having more than one spouse, may it be male or female. Now, hatred for our co-wives. Some people love it. Because what happens when we hate our co-wives, it's easier to be the victim. I said that. I've seen it. I've coached it. I've had some women that have had some successful journeys understanding that hating their co-wife didn't serve them in the way that they thought it would. Because what happens when we hate our co-wives is there's a blame shift that happens. Typically, but not always, this can happen and be very violent mentally, physically, and spiritually between initial wives and subsequent wives, no matter the sequence of subsequent wives. Now, this can happen between subsequent wives. This has happened between subsequent wives where they hate each other. There'll be two wives and the third and the second and the third can't get along. They hate each other. They can't be in the same room together. They've threatened one another. They have put their hands on one another. I personally have never, nor will I ever, put my hands on another woman that my husband decided consensually to marry. Ain't no way. Now, if somebody puts their hands on me first, I'm going to defend myself. I don't have that kind of co-wife. I'm blessed, honestly, to have Coach Nyla as a co-wife because she's just not a drama queen and she doesn't start these things. And that's just not in her. It's not of her. I've never seen it in her. If any of you have met her, that's not in her spirit. We know we're accountable to Allah and we will answer to Him. And we just have the same common values and goals and things like that. Not personally, but as a family, as a whole. We just do. We just do. So I'm glad that we have that and we're blessed. Everybody doesn't have that. Now, with that being said, some people have to deal with this drama. Some people have good reason to dislike their co-wife or wives. There might have been some physical violence. There may have been some really, really traumatizing slander that's going on among the wives. This happens. I don't like acting like these things are not happening. Everything's all hunky-dory and everybody gets along and you can do it too. No, some people, you just can't be around them. They can't be around you. It's not going to work. You don't like each other. You don't appreciate each other's presence. Your husband doesn't know what to do. You know, that's why we bring certain content on YouTube so that we can open up the conversation so that we can help. And we do offer coaching as well. And if you want to know more about what I do for women of all walks of life, please visit me at coachfatimah.com for details because I do offer coaching. Now, let's get back into the video. And I've had to really coach many women, again, from all different walks of life, different religions, about this subject in particular. Hating their co-wife for just merely existing is one huge issue that some wives are having. I just don't want her around. One thing that I have to say, because it does matter, your husband wants her around. Your kids, you may find, even want her around. There's some benefit that's there that they've experienced. Maybe not a lot, but enough to know that they like her, and in many cases love her. My children love my co-wife. They have good reason to. We're not all sitting here going, I wonder if our husband loves her. Absolutely. That's what you do when you're married. You're supposed to love people. Do you fall out of love? Yeah. Do you have good reason to? Yeah. Yes, you do. We have to say that. We have to understand that. There's so much that happens before that happens. And a few things that do happen is sitting up and hating people that have done absolutely nothing to us. You know what, in my most honest moments in my life, I have sat alone with myself and been so honest and said, you know what, Coach Nyla didn't do nothing to me. She didn't do nothing to me. If I had to have a conversation, I mean, the most important relationship that I have on earth is that with my husband, with Coach Nazir. That's the most important relationship. That is to say, that relationship is under, the most important relationship I have is with myself and Allah, with God. That's the most important relationship. And in myself, I have to have an important relationship with myself. But if I think about outside of me, it is my husband. So if I need to have conversations, it has to be with him about our marriage. Can't have that conversation with her about my marriage to him. It doesn't work that way. Do people do it? They do it. They do it. They need validation. They need to vent, pour their hearts out. I wouldn't advise that at all. When wives do that with one another, well, he and I can't stand, and I can't woo, and I'm leaving, and all this stuff. You have a lot to deal with in your own life without having to deal with that extra layer. It doesn't mean our co-wives don't matter. It doesn't mean they're not experiencing these things. It doesn't mean we shouldn't listen to a certain degree, but this oversharing of information, avoid that at all costs. You'll be walking around mad at your husband. He won't know why. You go, well, your co-wife told you a bunch of stuff that she shouldn't have. And you let it affect you instead of saying, I don't want to hear that. Please don't tell me that. Please don't go any further. That's your business. Don't want to be mean. Love you though. It's okay to say that. You know, but let's get back into this subject because I'll go all the way over there, but I'll make a video about that too. And we made a video about that. If I can find it, maybe we can link it below, but if not, I can refilm that. That's important too. But I want co-wives to understand something. When you hate your co-wife, you're harming yourself. You are harming yourself because hatred will sit there inside of you and it'll turn into this monster of resentment. And before you know it, you will say something to her that you can't take back. You'll say something to your husband that you can't take back. And it can affect your marriage if you say hateful things to your husband about his other wife. I promise you that. I promise you that. Because they don't want to hear it. If you do hate each other, your husband doesn't want to hear that because it hurts him. Because if he loves you, both, last thing you want to see is two people you love hate each other. And if you've ever seen that, it is one of the most violent feelings you can ever experience. You got more than one wife and children with more than one wife, and you are watching and witnessing them hate each other. I can't imagine. Coach Nazir has never had to experience that. Dislike, yeah. Oh yeah. But hate, no. Because again, this man decided that he wanted to marry again. Nobody made him do it. no matter what you might assume or think. Grown men do grown men things. They'll make a decision. It might not be the best decision at the time. The timing might be off. They might be a little misguided. They might have needed help, didn't have it. It might be a bunch of things, but just know they're adults. I love something that Coach Nazir said to me. He said, I answer to Allah. I answer to God. Like, people need to know that. It needs to be said. I think that's one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard him say. Don't nobody run him at all. He's grown, for real. He's been out of his mother's house since he was 14. You don't tell people that have been on their own since they were 14 what to do. You don't. I have no desire. If I got to tell you what to do, then you're not a husband. If I have to lead you. And one thing that a man that is grown, that has decided to marry more than one wife, is to not think that we're going to make him hate his other wife because we don't like her or we hate her. To manipulate him into thinking, you know, I hate her. You should hate her too. And this is why I hate her. Hating for brownie points. It doesn't help. Hating your co-wife does not help you. It is going to hurt you. It is going to hurt your marriage, your children ultimately, if you have children. And you never know who you're going to need. Never. I lost my father 3 years into polygyny. He fell over and died suddenly from a massive heart attack. And it hurt me very deeply. Once the dust settled, my co-wife was there for me. She was there. She didn't know him. She never met him. He knew she was there. But honey, I was going through it one day and she hugged me before my children, before our husband did. She did. She did. I got hugs after, but she did. And they were all going through their own thing. My husband, my daughters, my sons, they were going through their own pain of losing my dad. But she hugged me. She saw it all over my face and hugged me. You never know who you're going to need. And let me tell you, I needed that hug. I needed that hug. It was a day we were having the family meeting, was the 1 year anniversary of his death. I'll never forget it. And I needed her. So when we become so arrogant as to think, I won't need this person, it don't matter, I have no use for them, you don't know what position you're going to end up in. You don't know what position you'll end up in that you might need it. So just think about that if you are one of those people, because everybody's not like that. I don't want to make a blanket statement. I know that, but this video is for those of you that might think that hating your co-wife helps, and it doesn't. Okay? So with that, I'm going to wrap this video up. But if you've made it this far in the video, make sure that you put in the comments, hate doesn't help. Okay? I'm Coach Fatimah. I'm going to make sure that I check back in on this subject with you all. Let me know about any other videos that you want me to, anything like that you want me to discuss. Or maybe my co-wife, Coach Nyla, and I, or maybe the trio of three, Coach Nazir as well, and we'll do that for you all. But until then, if you need details on my coaching, go to CoachFatimah.com for details. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. But until then, make sure you're growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.